On this episode of Brainpower, we're going to evaluate new AI video technology for human performance. Let's go. Hello, friends. It's been a while. Yeah, I was busy writing a book. And well, my part of that process is nearly complete. And so I decided to start doing more Brainpower episodes. And I have so much fun doing these with you. So if you're not familiar with the show, I will evaluate technology. I will talk about the impact of artificial intelligence in human performance and just kind of have fun. So if you're playing along at home, you can join the conversation live. And I do have the ability to show comments now live. So I don't know how dangerous that's going to get, but we're going to give it a go. Well, let me just give you some context as far as what's going to happen in today's episode. We're going to take a little journey through my personal process in evaluating brand new technology. So the last week has been fairly intense because there's been so many different releases coming from Microsoft, coming from Google. And one of the releases from Google was the brand new Veo 3 model. And if you haven't seen any examples of Veo 3, well, get ready to pick your jaw up off the floor because I know my jaw was on the floor after seeing the outputs of this video, including audio and being hyper realistic, almost to the point where I couldn't even tell if it was generated by AI. Well, let's go ahead and take a look and a listen of an example. Now, what I'm about ready to show you is the very first attempt that I made at creating videos using Veo 3. And I came up with the concept of an instructional designer comedy night. I used ChatGPT to help write the jokes. I use ChatGPT to help write the prompts as far as the videos, and this is the result. So let's take a look and a listen to that.
Welcome to Instructional Designer Comedy Night.
I'm an instructional designer. My job is to turn a 300-page manual no one reads into a 10-minute video everyone skips.
My therapist told me I overanalyze everything. I asked her if she had any data to back that up.
I make e-learning. It's like Netflix, but the only thing you binge is regret.
So yeah, my safe word is Kirkpatrick level 4. Nobody's ever gotten close.
Yeah, I use ADDIE. Stands for another damn deadline. Isn't it exciting?
Wow. That's really impressive. And again, that was my first attempt at using the tool. Now, I did use Camtasia to stitch those videos together, but that was, just an edit that took just a few minutes. And so when we take a look at these capabilities, there's this really odd dichotomy in our reality around AI. We have access to all of these capabilities, but then the question comes up, can I use that for the work that I do day in and day out? And so we're going to walk through my process of evaluating these tools, specifically Veo 3, and is it worth the time and the effort? So with that, let's go ahead and let's take a look at this Veo 3 technology. All right, so again, I'm a little rusty here. I'm getting back into the groove. Hey. And let's see if I can actually get this together. There we go. All right. So again, Google announces Veo 3, and it is truly groundbreaking. I know that not just in learning and development, but any industry dealing with video creation, advertise, marketing, entertainment, everyone's taking a real close look at this and trying to decide how is this going to impact the way that we do work, specifically around video creation. And so when I see some type of new tool or some type of new capability, I immediately like map it back to workflows and thinking about how would I implement this, right? What are the barriers? What's the functionality and how does it work? Now, we do have new tools and we do have new technology to help us out with that process. And I'm going to be using ChatGPT today to help me evaluate VO3. Yeah, I mean, typically I would just go in and take a look at my workflows at the atomic level and isolate where this tool would be used in the creation process. But I decided to flip the script today and leverage ChatGPT to help me out with that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's just first take a look at this offering. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to the pricing. Right out of the gate, the pricing may be completely out of line with what your expectations are, or what you're currently paying for tools that are out there. Now, you'll notice that at least on this particular screen, there are two offerings. There's actually an additional one. There's free. And with the free, you're not going to be able to get access to the video creation model. At least you might be able to get one generation in, but that's about it. Then you'll have to go and do the pro plan, which I was just on yesterday, but then I kicked it up to ultra, which I'll get to in a second. But with the pro plan, you only get so many renders of VO3. I actually tapped out of my VO3 renders yesterday, and it would not kick back in for a whole nother week. Well, in evaluating this tool, I needed more access than that. So I went for the $125 for 3 months plan, which is going to bounce up to $250 a month. Yep, $250 a month. That's fairly intense. And these price points per month is something that we're just not used to. And so, like, is it worth it? Like, can you take that $3,000 or $3,000 cost per year and build in enough productivity to where it's worth it? Now, my take is that once this tool matures and we can begin to leverage it at scale and directly impact our productivity and the quality of the outputs coming out, all right, it'll be worth it. But out of the gate, again, we're just still examining and determining, is it worth the risk? Because yeah, there is a risk in using these tools. We still have lawsuits that are being processed today around copyright. And what does it mean to use this model for work, right? So those are still being worked out. And Charles, yeah, yikes. I think the same thing too. Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what you have access to. Let's just say Pro, the Pro version, right? And again, I will come in and I typically will just kick it around and see what's possible. Now, because there's going to be a delay in actually rendering these videos, I'm going to keep the conversation going. And it's almost like any other kind of cooking show. I'm going to put things in the oven and then we're going to wait for that to get done cooking. And then I'll pull it out of the oven. We'll take a look at it. So here I am inside of Gemini, and you'll look down at the bottom in the message window, and we see here this option for VO3, video. It doesn't say VO2, it says VO3. So it's using the latest and greatest. Now, when I click it, it says, bring ideas to life. You're the director, go for it. Now, if I was on my Pro plan, you could see up here in the upper right-hand corner, it says Ultra. But if I was on my Pro plan, it would come up with a message that says, good luck, wait until June 5th to continue making videos. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what it says. Well, I now have capabilities to go ahead and create the video. So I'm just going to come in here. I am really going to riff. So let's go ahead. Let's say have a person cooking smoked potato salad in the backyard next to a grill. All right, so not specific, zero shot prompt, just kind of riffing and seeing what happens. Let's kick it forward here, and we're going to let that cook. All right, so we'll see what comes back. Now, let's take a look at the other environment that you can start creating videos with, and this is Flow. All right, so Flow is a video creation environment that is going to allow you to extend the capabilities beyond just a single video creation. Again, I'll take a look at what the capabilities are here and does it fit into my video creation workflow? So inside Flow, I'm going to go ahead and click on New Project. And I get a very, very simple interface. There's not much happening here. But if we look down at the bottom, you can see that I have a drop down here where I can go in and render text to video, frames to video. So this could be stills, right, to video, and ingredients to video. So I can take objects, people, clothing, and inject that into the actual video itself. Pretty fascinating. Over on the right-hand side of the message box, I have a settings option. I can determine how many various outputs that I want. Now, again, in production, you may want to leverage additional outputs, but it will go against the number of renders that you can do over a certain period of time. Now, you do get credits even on Ultra, and the equation, typically it's about 100 or 110 videos per month. And even on the Ultra account, it's going to shut down, right? So you got to be careful with that. So must be very intentional with your work because of the current limitations. Now, this other drop down here, I have fast. Here we have the various quality settings. And let's take a moment and examine these because this is important. So with fast, this is going to go ahead and get you 480p video. Quality is going to get you 720p. And then the highest quality, including the experimental audio with VO3, is 1080p. Now, it's only 8 seconds at a time. So you got to keep that, under consideration. Also, the only method that's going to work with highest quality is text to video. That's in regards to getting the audio back, right? So for instance, if I go in and I choose frames to video, it's not gonna allow me to kick it in to highest quality, even though it looks like it is. After some experimentation, it actually will go ahead and give me a warning saying, well, wait a second, I have to go ahead and use a different model to use this functionality, which from an interface standpoint is kind of jacked up, but that's the way that it works. Now, once I go in and I create some type of asset in here, I can then begin to expand it or extend the capabilities. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to hold off on creation here just for a moment because I want to go through the process of how I evaluate these tools. And I'm just kind of giving you the overview right now. Hey, let's go and check and see if anything's done out of the oven. All right, so we got our first VO3 video here. Let's take a look and a listen. Hopefully we got some sound with this. Oh, and be still my heart because he is cooking on a Weber kettle, which is my favorite device to cook on. So that is really cool. I know it already has a high emotional impact for me, which is pretty awesome. Well, let's continue going here. One other tool that is currently in Google Labs is called Whisk. And Whisk can be found at labs.google FX tools Whisk. You can also just search for it. And this is kind of cool because, again, it's experimental, but it shows you the thought process that Google is going through in regards to creation of video. And in this case, just like any other kind of recipe, you can begin adding assets in here to guide the model in an output or creation. So over here on the left-hand side, I can click the panel button. This extends it out. And you can see I can add subjects, I can add scenes, and I can add styles. Really cool. So let's talk about subjects. With a subject, I can upload a reference image of a person. It could be a photo. It could be an AI generated person. I can also go in and prompt and have the image gen model. So the image gen model is Google's image creation model, and that would be applied here. Well, I happen to have a couple done, and I'm just going to go ahead and click upload image. And I have on my desktop here some scenario images, and I have this person here. This is all AI generated. This person does not exist. I believe I created this person from ChatGPT 4.0 model. And then let's go ahead and take a look at adding another person. So I can click on the plus icon here. I can add another person. That's going to be an upload image. This person's not going to be so happy. Sorry, Cleveland. Now, I can do this because I'm originally from Northeast Ohio. So we're poking a little bit of fun at Northeast Ohio today. All right, so we got our upset person from Cleveland in here. Now, what about the scene? Again, I can upload an image, or I can go ahead and enter some text in here and say, this is inside a retail store, something like that, okay? So apologies for my horrible typing. Let's get that corrected and generated. All right, so now it's going to go ahead and create a 16:9 image that's going to be used for this scene. There we go. And then a style. Now, this could be photographic, it could be cartoon, that kind of thing. I'm actually going to leave that blank in hopes that we're going to maintain a photographic style. Now, through experimentation, if it doesn't adhere, I could go back in and just say photo. All right, so now any additional details in here, the guy from Cleveland is upset with let's see if it adheres. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and run this. Again, what I'm doing here is experimenting. I'm going in and trying to see exactly what's possible. Now, obviously, you know, I have some adherence as far as the characters, not too bad. But then, like, you know, the shirt changes, and that's the thing about working with these models. Again, you're going to notice variations, and adherence to clothing, to characters can be off. And that's one of the considerations when moving forward and trying to determine, can you create a training video with this? Because if we don't have consistent characters, we don't have consistent voices, the video is going to lose integrity. And right there, that is a losing battle when it comes to creating effective educational videos. All right, well, I can also animate this, and I can prompt it, and let's just say a conversation. Now, with Whisk, you can go in and create these videos and have movement, but there's no audio. That's the downside. Now, if I was doing some B-roll and I wanted some movement in a scene, or it was an outdoors and it showed it some kind of environmental type animation, that would be perfect. But, you know, when it comes to two people having a conversation and there's no audio, there's going to be movement here, and it's going to be really difficult to add that into production, right? Okay, so we've gone ahead, and just for review, we've examined Google Gemini. I can go ahead and create an 8-second video right out of there. I then have Flow, where I can go in and expand upon that video creation and extend my scene out, and also use different techniques, including frames to video and ingredients to video. And then finally, we have Whisk, which is that lab area that's going to allow me to go in and try some different techniques in regards to image creation and animation. And looks like this animation's done. Let's take a look at it. So they're just hanging out, having this conversation. Really cool what it did from the image. But again, I would need to go in and dub in audio, which would take some time. Also, with a script, I mean, how would you even align that to the script? Okay, so we got it. So I've now gone in and I've examined these 3 implementations of VO3. But how do I do the true evaluation? Well, today I went in and I started working with ChatGPT the O3 reasoning model with deep research. And there's a method to the madness there. Now, if I go over to ChatGPT, you are going to laugh because this is my prompt. And you're like, what? Don't you do structured prompts? Like, what is going on with that? And then Charles is asking, if you use Flow, does it impact your credits separate from VO? It's all lumped together, Charles. I believe it all goes back into that Ultra account. So yeah, it's going to impact your credit usage. So if we take a look at my prompt, it's a mess. And you're probably like, what is he doing? Well, I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I just open up the microphone and talk right to the model. Now, in my mind, I do have to think about the role, to think about the task, and to think about task details. Yes, there is a method to the madness there when I'm talking to the model. But as you're reading this, you're probably like, oh my God, this guy is all over the place. Well, you'd be surprised what happens when you can cobble together some thoughts, use the O3 model with deep research, and sometimes you'll strike gold. So what I attempted to do was create a framework for evaluating VO3 as a tool, but with, again, the output or with the intention of impacting human performance. And that is the key, right? That we're attempting to go ahead and create an experience that truly moves the needle and aligns itself with some type of KPI or some type of measurement. So let's take a look at what the model created. So it came up with AI video learning model evaluation framework. That's a good start. Then, and this is absolutely amazing, define, okay, the first thing I do is align the performance, right? What's the deal? Like, what is the gap? And right here, it says, after this experience, the learner will, or after watching this video, the learner will, whatever. You got to have it tied to an observable KPI. I love it. And gate one, which is kind of funny, that goes back to change management with gates. If the model's inherent limits, clip length, resolution, voice control, preventing creating the media can drive the KPI, stop and seek another medium. That's about it in a nutshell, people. Like, if you can't leverage this new tool properly to create and execute on a well-crafted educational video, stop. Don't use it. Hey, it may be great for entertainment, but when the rubber hits the road and you need to create impactful educational videos that's going to drive performance and have skills and knowledge go into long-term memory, it's got to be spot on, right? And that's not to say don't experiment. My gosh, get in there, because you could use this tool as a bumper to gain attention at the beginning of a video, but then leverage traditional video techniques to tighten it up. Like potentially use an avatar using Synthesia, HeyGen, Colossian, or just get your stock video or go shoot video, right? So you can use it as a tool in your tool belt. But here we're going to go ahead and just purely take a look at it as if we were producing the entire video from VO3. Next, what's the capabilities? And look what the model created here for me. The maximum clip length, what to capture, seconds per render. I only get 8 seconds. How do you get around that? Well, one thing I can do is it requires stitching in the workflow. That's true. In Flow, I can stitch videos together. Native audio. Yep, it supports dialogue, sound effects, and music in the background. It's built in with lip sync. That's cool, but there could be audio bugs and silence reports. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these. And once I go in and publish the video, I will put up there a resource for you. And you can find that resource. You go ahead and mark this down up at my website /Brainpower. And you can also find links to prior episodes and additional resources for you up there. So you can go ahead and check that out. Again, that is joshcavalier.com or AI /Brainpower. Again, I don't want to bog us down here, and we can get into all of the details here, but the bottom line is it's evaluating what are the capabilities And then what are the potential workarounds for deficiencies with that capability within a video creation workflow? We then have input and output mapping, one of my favorites. And so we have the creation process here of a video, including identifying the learning objective, creating the storyboard, prompt drafting. Yeah, the input output mechanism for creating these videos is a prompt. Voice specification. Are we going to go in and cut the audio or use 11 Labs or some other tool to do the voiceover? We then have the rendering. We have to assemble these videos somewhere. We have any kind of interaction. Potentially, if we have an interactive video, there would be a quiz question associated with it. And then we actually have to deploy. Where is this going to sit? So that's kind of, this is great. This is soup to nuts, everything in regards to the thought process behind the video, the execution of the creation of the video, and then the actual placement in the channel for consumption and then measurement. Pretty awesome. Quality and impact metrics. This gets really detailed. Media quality, audio quality, learning, retention, skill transfer. Hey, why not? We are in the age of data. Why not collect all this? As long as we can, from the measurements, determine if there's any kind of adjustments or, changes that we can make in the media, why not? Automation and scalability. So some ideas around taking this, if it works, and extending it into an automation, which is fantastic. We have some specifics around VO3 as far as the playbook here. Prototype one critical scene, judge realism, lip sync. Yeah, that's my next move. It's right here in the output from the O3 model, which is fascinating. If satisfied, lock art direction, chunk the story, batch generate. Let's keep going. We even have a rubric here to actually score the quality or the output. And then we have some forward-looking ideas if we progress with using this tool. Solid. I mean, this is a rock solid output. Now, there's some tweaks I would potentially make with this, but I'm going to score it a B right now. Not too bad. Okay. Well, hey, that's all fine and well. Let's continue this. And what if we want to apply this brand new framework to an actual training video? Use the framework, come up with an example for food safety for storing shellfish for the food industry in North Carolina. So this is what we call prompt chaining. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the output of this framework up top here. Again, I will put this out on the website for you so you can take it and use it. I'll put it into a Word document. And now I'm applying it with this prompt chain. Watch what it creates here. This is gold. So it goes in and leverages the framework specific to this video that I want to create, this topic. And so here we have the topic. What's the performance alignment? The human performance gap. So in North Carolina, we have here that shellfish held a mandated 45 degrees ambient or internal temperature and improper tag retention. Okay, so that's the risk. And then we have the outcome statement here. So we definitely want to keep all shellfish at or below 45 degrees and tag it and so on. Don't need to get into the details, but let's check out some of the other here. We have VO3's 8-clip limit. And so we have again, the overview of what is possible within VO3. We have the potential tool to use for each stage of creation. This blows me away. Hey, go ahead and store all your KPIs in Notion. Use GPT-4o for the scene list, the prompt sheet. Use 11 Labs for the voice track. Use VO3 for the video render. Assemble it using this Python or this tool. The quizzes can be in Storyline. Deploy it on your LMS. Let's go. How about that? Absolutely fascinating that O3 came up with all these tools for the whole entire workflow. We're focused in on VO3, so we are right here. The prompts. Watch what happens. So we get down to the measurement. Yeah, and we can take a look at that. But down here, we finally get to the creation. And it goes in and takes a look at the topic. We have the worker scans tag, places oyster stack in 38-degree cooler, overlay gauge hits 38 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so we have some information about the look of the video, and we have some storyboarding here that tells the story about placing this shellfish in a cooler. And again, I'm making the assumption that this is aligned to North Carolina standards, right? This is information that you would want to evaluate and take a look at, right? Is this truth? Is this truthful? All right, let's continue. There's our weighted metric. Again, this is made up information. I don't want to vet this out. All right, and we have some next actions in here, but take a look at this next step. Okay, let me stop it. Act as a prompt engineer. Create a highly detailed video prompt for each of the following scenes. Maintain visual consistency. Receive shipment, verify tag date, and so on. Now I can come down here and look at the output, and this is gold. O3 came in and created the prompt that's going to maintain the visual consistency across these videos. And so this is what they call the master style tokens, or master style. It's funny it uses the word token here because it sees each of these as a token, which that's what it is. But it's funny how it uses that language here. And it says here, append unchanged to every prompt, meaning I need to use these words with every prompt to maintain visual consistency. Sometimes you can do this with characters and clothing, right? Here we're going to give it to a look. So what does this mean? What do I do with this? So I can go in and actually take this part of the prompt, copy it, put it in the clipboard, take it back over to Gemini, and paste it in here. And what I want to do, though, is I want to create a new conversation, because I believe prior video renderings have an impact on future results. So I want to clean the deck off, and I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to paste that portion of the prompt in there. Again, this is locking in the look. Now, when I go back over to the remainder of my prompts, it now gives me the rest of the prompt for that specific step in the video. So the style is at the beginning, and then we have the rest of the prompt with a voiceover. Step 1, receive and inspect live shellfish. All right, so I'm going to copy that, take it back over to Gemini. I'm just going to simply put a couple hard returns in here and paste that second part and run it as is. I'm not going to change anything. Let's give it a go. All right, so that's locked and loaded, but hey, I got two tools here. I have Gemini to create video, but I also have Flow. Why not, right? Let's use both. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in my highest quality text to video. Same technique. I'll come back over here. I'll grab my locked in look, copy that, go back over to Flow. We'll paste that in there. And now we'll get the copy or the prompt for the second video. So we'll come in, just fit clip number 2. I'll just grab this copy right here. We'll take it back over to Flow. I'll add this in here, paste it, and then run it. Now I have my second video generation going on. All right, let's go back over to Gemini. And here I'm unable to create a video. However, I can generate an image based on your detailed description. I was able to generate an image based on your description. Here it is. And there we go. So we've hit our first roadblock here, and we don't know why. I don't know why it is not able to create this video. I'm going to give it one more go here. If I had more time, I'd probably go in and introspect or ask the model why, or to itemize out what's happening, or ask it to go back in and change the prompt, like adjust the prompt so that you can actually create the video. But again, this is one of those, situations that will come up when you're working with the model, is the guardrails and what you can and can't do. So there could be some language in the prompt, especially around language dealing with a specific company or a reference in here. And I think that might be it right here. Let's give it one more go, because I really would love for a video to appear here through this whole demonstration. So I'm going to copy it one more time. I'll make a new chat. We'll make a video. We'll paste this back in here and we'll run it one more time. Let's go back over to Flow. Flow's still cooking. One thing you'll notice with Flow is that it's going to come in here and show me the completion of the video in real time in regards to a percentage. So you can see it's currently at 46. And when I go back over to Gemini, it just says, oh, it takes 3 to 5 minutes. Why can't you show us the percentage? It's really weird. It's the same model. It's two different interfaces, two different indicators in regards to completion. Back over at Flow, it's still cooking here. But hopefully, you've got an understanding in regards to that prompt workflow and how I leverage the O3 model to create those prompts for me. Again, it's pretty spectacular when you take a look at all of the additional detailed prompts that it's created here for each different clip, for scanning the tag, pre-chill rack, and all this is adhered or aligned to the North Carolina standards, but they have to be checked. Again, there could be hallucinating going on here or making up of information, but man, if this is all locked in, we're off and running here. One other thing I want to show you while those videos are being completed is typically this video, right, is more than just these steps. Like, you got to tee the video up. There needs to be engagement. So if you go back to like Gagne's 9 events of instruction, number 1, gain attention. Well, the same thing goes with video. Now, for a performance support standpoint, not a problem. I can just go ahead and use these videos as is. Like, there's no need to tee it up, right? Someone wants to go back in and they need to refresh some knowledge that they had prior or training they had prior. You could just use the clips. But if this is new knowledge, I have to gain attention. And there's a different methodology there. So if you're not familiar, I have some prompts. And those prompts can be found right here at my website, 150 prompts. It's actually 250, but the URL says 150. It'll still work. I have to get it updated, but it'll still work. And once you get access to the prompts, you can come down and just do a quick search here. And I'm going to do a search for video in my prompts. And here I have my educational video script prompt. I'll go in there and there's my prompt. This prompt, the way that it's structured, is based upon sound science. Like, there is a method to the madness here as far as gaining attention, priming the viewer to what they're going to watch, the content, which that's what we have right now. Like, we have those steps that's already been created by O3 in those prompts. We then have a reflection off the back end. And then at the end of the video, typically it's a call to action or some type of emotional push out from the video. Well, that's all here in the prompt. So I can copy this right here and take it back over to O3. And let me go back through. Oh, it created the video. All right, let's take a look at that. Well, I'll tell you what, let's complete this thought. Sorry. Let me slow down for a second. Let me go back over to this chat here. And I believe, no, we want back over here. Yep. All right, so what I want to do is just paste this in here. And my topic is going to be, let me go back up to the top here because I want to make sure I lock this in. Here we go. There's my topic. I'll take it down here and paste it in. and tee it up. So now what this is going to do is create the video script for the whole video. Now, again, I can modify the prompt to include additional prompt engineering to generate prompts for the video model, right? Again, I'm using the O3 model, a little different. This is the reasoning model, so it's going to take a little time to think and vet this information out, which is pretty cool. So we're going to get references here or citations within or inline the video script. Hey, while that's cooking, let's go back over here. Let's take a look at our video. I know it did it here. There we go. Let's see what we got.
Step 1 for toad. Receive and inspect live shellfish. Step 1 for toad. Receive and inspect live shellfish. Step 1 for toad.
Okay.
Receive and inspect.
Step 1. It said step 1 for toad. Oh, I'm so sorry. The URL again for the prompts. There you go. For those folks hanging out with me live, I do appreciate you being here. All right, hope you got it. There it is. Okay, well, had an audio issue with that, but it's great for B-roll. I mean, if I want to go ahead and leverage this for B-roll and swap out the audio with a consistent announcer, that would be amazing.
Inspect live shellfish. Step 1 for.
Okay, that's looking pretty good. I like what's happening here. And it even says NC Shellfish Cooperative with the branding. That is a made-up company, and I can see it in the background there. Absolutely fascinating. This is looking pretty good. Now, back over here, we now have the whole script of the video where here we have our emotional pull, my YouTube style hook. And again, I can leverage this with some kind of B-roll and then a voiceover, but you can see here that I have the whole script. This doesn't really align to a video script, but it validates the content, which I can go back to with the other prompts. I got my reflection here, and I got my emotional push. This is looking pretty good. But again, at the end of the day, and again, what we're trying to vet out here is, does VO3 allow the creation and adherence to the videos that we're looking for this, this whole entire process? And I would have to say at this moment, and from watching this particular video, the answer is yes, but caveat, with a little bit of work, right? Because there's an audio issue right out of the gate and it flubbed up the audio. Not only that, but can I have a consistent audio with the person? Odds are it's going to change or could change over time unless I change my prompt and create some type of description. Charles, I have no idea. How did it get for toad? Right? It's a mystery to me. Back over here at Flow. Hey, we got a video. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's really cool. I can see a voiceover talking about that date. Again, as a learning professional, we have to evaluate and take a look at everything about these videos. One thing I do have to say that is really wild, if we take a close look, is it an actual tag? Could we change the prompt for the way the tag is supposed to look? Can I add it in as an additional asset during the video creation process? Remember, I can add elements and guide the model in as far as a look. And then finally, everything else. Is this a legitimate environment? Does everything make sense? I mean, Do we have the correct number of fingers? Yeah, one more time on those prompts. There you go. And then if you want to download the assets for this video, again, give me a little bit of time for my live folks here. You just go to that same URL /Brainpower, and I will have the assets there shortly after the live. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, I think we've kicked this around enough, and you probably have your own conclusions as far as how all of this works. It has been a journey here today. And for my live folks, thanks for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. And if you're watching this recording, thank you so much. Again, all of the information for those of you on YouTube are going to be down below in the comments. You can go up to my website /Brainpower and download the assets there. Also, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I will see you in the next one soon. Take care.